Well, hello everybody and welcome along to a new video. And as you can see, because I'm squinting in the sun, it is a beautiful February day. It's 27th of February, a date of recording, and I just thought I'd do a farm update. So February on our farm is a very, very busy month. It is our month that we start calving. Calving sort of kicked off on 25th of January. And within 18 days we had calved 50%, which is the fastest ever we've got to 50% the herd calve for us. Official due date to start was the 4th of February. So yeah, it's about 10 days early. We had a few start and then really got going after the 4th, and then by the 18 days later we'd calve 50%. But then that's what we do. We're a block calving farm, so that's what happens. You get loads of calves at the start because we only calve for 3 months. So you get a lot of calves in a short space of time. Unlike the majority of the dairy herds in the UK would be year-round calving. So they'd have a few cows calving every month. Whereas we only calve for 3 months, so it's quite concentrated, and more so in the first few weeks. To date, we have calved, I think it is 63% of the herd, and we have got a lovely crop of heifer calves, some real bonny little lassies in here, but unfortunately our heifer to bull ratio is 43% heifers to 67% bulls, which is a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is really. There isn't a lot we could do with it unless we use sex semen, and we've tried that in the past and it doesn't really work for us. The conception rates aren't good enough for my herd, because I think the fertility isn't good enough in my herd really. So it's been the last few weeks of a lot of sleepless nights, long days, very long days some days, but ultimately now is our busy time and it'll soon tail off. With 63% of the herd calved, we haven't got a lot more to go in the next 8 weeks really. It's 1st of March, day after tomorrow, and we're due to finish calving by the end of April, so we haven't got that many left to go, thankfully. We first got out during that cold spell back beginning of February. We had about 4 days out then, but since then we have been in because it's been so wet, and wow, I can't think how many mils of rain we've had. I know we had 200 mil in one day. We must have had about 400 mil of rain in February, if not more. And the ground has been really wet, but it has dried up. The field they're in, it has trod a bit, but it's a Saturday. We want to try and make life a bit easier, so they've gone out. They'll be back in, only out for a few hours. They won't be out tonight. They'll be back in the barns having silage tonight. So yeah, it's been a busy month. Busy calving month, and a busy calf rearing month, and just a busy month all round for us really. So, new slurry rules coming into effect. Yeah, Wales has been quite slow implementing an MVZ. The rest of Europe, rest of UK have had MVZs now for a good many years, but Wales still had nothing. And now they have decided to finally implement the rules. So from 1st of April this year, the first sort of phase of rules come into effect. So from this year, we won't be allowed to spread fertiliser after the 15th of September, which for us is a bit early really. We usually like to go out with some fertiliser in October, just a little dose, if weather permitting and ground conditions permitting obviously, just to give us a nice little bite of grass like we've got here. So this is overwinter grass. So this would have had fertiliser in October, and that fertiliser just helped keep it ticking over the winter. Particularly here in Pembrokeshire, West Wales, is very mild, and it's very seldom we get a frost. So grass will pretty much grow for 12 months of the year. Now we have to stop spreading fertiliser in September, which means we're going to have a lot of very stressed looking grass over winter, and it's going to look bloody awful. The problem for me, well, potentially I won't have as much grass to turn out to in the spring. So we're going to have to sort of try and fine tune our final round, as it were, to try and build covers. We have to build covers earlier, I suppose. Other things affecting us then will be a slurry ban, as the Irish like to call it. So we won't be allowed to spread slurry after 15th of October on our farm, probably, because our farm is sort of a medium to heavyish sort of land. Light sandy soils, the rules are slightly different. I think it's earlier for them. I think 1st of September, was it 1st of October possibly, until 31st of December. And then for my farm, like I said, I think it's, I better just check. Let's check here. For my farm, it will be, for my farm, 15th of October to 15th of January, we won't be allowed to spread slurry from. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing really, because usually December and January are quite dryish months, and we can usually get a good dose of slurry out in perfect conditions. Whereas from the 15th of January this year, it has been soaking wet, bar 4 days when we managed to get the cows out. Right, so what is our plan to comply with the new regulations? Well, my lagoon isn't big enough. We had a visit from NRW 2 years ago, and they came up with recommendations of things we had to do. We've done quite a few of them, so we had to put a few sleeping policemen in around the yard to stop water running off. Wall-rounded barn, I think the calf barn that you'll have seen earlier in the video, we had to put walls around that to stop any muck escaping. And then we also had to increase slurry capacity, because they knew these rules were coming back then. So for me, our plan is to cut down on water. We've got a lot of open yards on the farm. And so what we're going to do is roof over our yards. So we've already got planning permission in place to put a roof over here. These are our silage clamps. So the plan is to put a roof structure from that cubicle barn across to this cubicle barn. Now by doing that, we'll cut out a lot of water. In time then, well, that's our plan for this year, to make a start. In time then, we'll also be roofing over, we've got a yard going across the bottom of our cubicle barns and the collecting yards. So the plan is to cover all of those yards, and that will then give us 50% more capacity in the lagoon, because currently 50% of my lagoon capacity is used up with rainwater landing on these yards. Now, according to the rules, silage clamps don't have to be roofed because they're classed as lightly fouled water. But the problem is, I use my silage clamps for feeding areas. Well, it's not very clear in the picture there, but yeah, you can see we've got ring feeders in here to feed. We also self-feed, and cow numbers are increasing, so we're going to need this room to feed every year. So once you put cows in there all the time, it's classed as slurry. So we have to go in the slurry lagoon. But we've got no other way around it. So a roof over the top is the only option for us. So the plan is over the next 3 years to roof over all the cow yards, and then we will have to increase slurry lagoon capacity if cow numbers keep rising, but not by a huge amount. I think according to the consultant, we'd only have to increase our capacity or the size of the lagoon by 2 meters deeper, either deeper or bring the bank up 2 meters higher. So yeah, that's our plan to comply with new slurry regulations. So there we go, a little farm update for you. So yeah, we've had a busy February. We got expensive few years coming up trying to comply with slurry regs, but there we are. 'Tis what it is. So hope you've enjoyed that little vid, and I'll see you next time.